The opportunity to speak on this and thank my colleague Deputy Éireann for bringing forward this motion here tonight. I think the one thing that we all need to accept is that COVID-19 has changed things utterly, and we simply can't dismiss things that we would have been rejected out of hand by governments in the past. Who would have thought that a government would introduce a one-tier health system literally overnight, or ban rent increases, a policy that had been fought so hard against previously? The same approach is now needed in terms of childcare and maternity leave, and both are inextricably linked. Many of us have spent sleepless nights taking care of a sick child, naturally hoping that they'd improve, but also panicking as to how we're going to mind that sick child in the morning when we clearly can't access childcare and the child is too sick to go to school. Honestly, how many of us have encouraged one of our children out the door to school when privately and honestly we think that really they should be at home, but because we had no childcare backup, we didn't have any choice, we had to be in work today? Yes, Zoom and Teams will be a godsend for many families. But what if you have no childcare at all? Minister, the messages that I've been receiving from parents, not just first-time parents, but parents with siblings already in childcare, are along the lines that there's no creche in this area that will take a child under the age of 2 on account of the coronavirus, never mind a 6-month-old. We've been informed that the creche where our baby was due to start has decided to stop taking under ones due to the restrictions being placed on them as a result of COVID-19. This places us in an impossible position of having no childcare for the baby. And that is the practical problem that women are now facing. There isn't a childcare alternative available for them that would have been available pre-COVID-19. And there's a further aspect to this that we cannot ignore, and that is the mental health of mothers. I think all of us will accept that COVID-19 has had a detrimental impact on the mental health of many people in our society. And this has compounded an already stressful time for new mothers. From the conversations that I've had with mothers and the messages that my office has received, clearly some mothers are suffering as a direct result of COVID-19 and the lockdown, the lack of contact with family, the stress of childcare provision, as well as concerns that all of us have regarding a second wave of infection. I believe a 3-month extension to maternity leave for this cohort of mothers would help to alleviate some of this stress and anxiety and ultimately help to reduce the pressure on our mental health services. Vision for Change, the World Health Organization, even the United Nations have all clearly identified maternal mental health as a priority for society. 13% of women experience postnatal depression during the first year after the birth, and in some instances this can persist for long periods of time. It can have an adverse effect on the whole family, on partners, on the emotional and cognitive development of infants and their siblings. And I listened intently to the Minister earlier on in relation to her response, and she highlighted the additional impact that this would have in terms of cost on employers. But it's the fact that employers at the moment are legally obliged, if requested, to provide an additional 16 weeks maternity leave. It is also the case that employers are not legally obliged to top up the salary in terms of maternity benefit. And I could fully understand and empathise with many employers out there who are not in the financial position to top that up. But the state is intervening in terms of people that were working part-time for 4 hours a week, and they were prepared to pay them €350 a week, against, I must say, the advice that I gave the then Taoiseach and the party leaders at the time. But that was the decision that was taken, and yet we're not prepared to pay this small cohort of women €245 a week for 3 months. But the issue regarding maternity leave masks a far greater problem with regard to childcare capacity and also the return to schools and the impact that this is going to have on women in particular. We must do everything possible to ensure that our schools can fully reopen this September. My concern is that any reduction in the number of hours or days that children attend school, particularly primary school, will impact disproportionately on thousands of women across our country. We have already seen the impact on our frontline staff of the lack of childcare. And we're seeing this again as parents are struggling to find childcare for young children where they cannot work from home and where grandparents are unable to help out as they would traditionally have normally done. If schools don't fully reopen this September, we will see a far wider impact on the current crisis that we have at present. If we're looking at a situation where childcare facilities are not going to open or provide reduced numbers or not cater for children under the age of 2 at all, leaving parents without childcare options, particularly where they need to return to employment and where this work cannot be done from home, then we need to look again at a solution that would not have been contemplated prior to COVID-19. And I believe the provision put forward by Deputy Claire Curran is one of those. I believe that Deputy Curran's proposal of a 3-month extension for maternity leave is a sensible proposal, and I would ask the Government to reconsider the motion that they have tabled and to support this proposal and not reject it out of hand. Thank you.